Hello, everybody. Welcome to the 5th episode of the Warped Eye podcast.
Today, we'll be talking about what if Albert Einstein was a girl, society's glorification of the not like the other girls trope, toxic productivity, and our very exciting undisclosed debate.
Alrighty, let's jump into the first segment. What if Albert Einstein was a girl?
Well, rights for women during Albert Einstein's time were very limited. I think he lived in the late 1800s to the early 1900s, right? So, and if you were a woman during that time in the United States, you probably couldn't vote or enroll in top universities, and the societal role of a woman was to, stay at home, raise the children, and do all of those household duties. And if you were a scientist before 1920, I got this information from this magazine that had this 12-page research paper that it made my head hurt reading it. But basically, it said that based on accounts of female scientists before 1920, they were often discriminated against or humiliated in the workplace, and they had much fewer work opportunities than men in lower status and higher unemployment rates. And there was a very interesting gender divide in the specific fields of science. More of the math-based sciences, like engineering, those were more popular with men, and they didn't have a lot of women in them. And then there was stuff like botany that really attracted women. So I thought that was very interesting.
Yes.
There were obviously colleges that were specific for women. I don't have extensive research on this, but I don't think that they would offer courses like physics or whatever, because they were probably perceived as more masculine fields.
Yeah, it's kind of funny because in Albert Einstein's physics class in university, there was one female student, which he ended up marrying, by the way, later on. Who he ended up marrying, yeah. But yeah, as you said, if Albert Einstein was a girl, he probably would not have gotten the education that he did, because the only female student in his class who he ended up marrying, she didn't have that much of a big career, because they had an illegitimate child actually. Then they got married because, of course, no, you can't have an illegitimate child. But anyway, so she was often raising the kids, but it turns out that she actually did a lot of Einstein's math for him. So a lot of the random tedious math that he had to do, calculators didn't exist, right? So she had to do all of the math.
Wait, so she was just a human calculator?
Not exactly, but he did not all of the math, but she also had some innovative ideas, which Albert Einstein did take a lot from. So she does not get enough credit, but I mean, Einstein did think of most of the big topics he's famous of by himself, because he was technically a theoretical physicist. So, but his wife was more, his first wife was more just doing all the mathematics. She was more experimental physics. So I think she kind of set up a lot of his experiments and stuff. But so she didn't have that big of a role, but that's basically what a lot of women would do at the time period. Because the only exception is Marie Curie. Her husband did help. Her husband was Einstein's wife in that situation. So the roles are reversed for once. Marie Curie was the one who discovered most of the things, and Pierre had less of a role to play. But they won the Nobel Prize together because they still did a lot of work together.
Oh, so then if Albert Einstein was a girl, then maybe she would maybe she would have to, like sort of channel her work through her husband.
Yeah.
She would help her husband, and all of the credit would be for him. And I feel like most women during this time period would probably be okay with that because of the mindset they had of like gender roles.
Yeah, I don't think they'd be okay with it. I feel like they know it's wrong, but most of them at least. But they know they don't have any other way out. And I feel like if he did somehow, there were some women who did somehow get their papers published, but no one would read their work in the first place because they would just disregard their research, um, because of their gender. But I feel like some authors, for instance, female authors in the time period, they abbreviated their names to, like, he would have been A. Einstein, so he would not have published his first name, just like J.K. Rowling did, right? She wanted people to read her work and not be gender biased, sexist, basically gender biased, sexist. So, yeah, I feel maybe Albert Einstein would have done that, and I think some people have done that in the field of science as well, publishing their papers under an abbreviated name like that. So that's fair. Maybe he would have gotten the same recognition, but much later. Maybe people would not have seen his work for what it truly was at the time period. But maybe later, when people had less closed-minded minds, they would have realized that, dude, this woman was a genius. You know?
Yeah, but I wonder if Albert Einstein was a girl, then I don't think we would know the name Einstein. I think we would know her husband's name instead, because when you marry, you change your last name. I think that's it's not really related to like her intelligence or anything, but like I think that's something.
Whatever name that Alberta would have.
Alberta.
Yes. We should just call female Albert Einstein Alberta. It'll be beautiful.
Yes. I saw a TED Talk the other day titled What If Einstein Had Been a Woman? And it was, the person speaking was a physicist in the modern day, and she was also sharing about her experience as a woman in physics today, like 100 years after Einstein. And she was talking about what has changed, and it was kind of not a lot has changed, unfortunately. So she was talking about Marie Curie, who got a Nobel Prize, and she was the first woman to do that. And 100 years later, the TED Talk speaker was like, the number of women Nobel Prizes in science has doubled. It's 2 now. Whoa, so amazing.
Wow. When was that TED Talk published? Because I think 57 women have won the Nobel Prize, right?
Oh, really?
I remember women who won the Nobel Prize in science.
Last year, it says in 2020, the Nobel Prize honored 3 women in science. Okay, wait. The first Nobel Prizes in chemistry and physics were awarded in 1901. Since then, only 10 women have received these honors.
In science?
Yeah.
So 57 women in all of Nobel Prize history. But
only 10. That's disappointing. How many men?
Probably like hundreds.
That's the disappointing statistic.
It is quite disappointing.
The TED Talk speaker was saying how when she got into more advanced physics classes, she would be like the only woman in there, or like the one of 2 women in there, and often the other students or even the professor wouldn't notice her, and sometimes the professor would just walk in and be like, "Hello, gentlemen," and she's just there like, "Excuse me." And so like I think that's kind of sad. But we do have progress, at least.
We definitely, at least like it's not like foreign to have a woman in a science class now.
Yeah, and like you can be a woman and apply to an elite college and no one's gonna look at you weird. And you can be like, I want to win the Nobel Prize, and no one's gonna look at you weird.
Yeah.
Oh, we're making progress, but there are more topics in the realm of sexism, and we'll be discussing one of them in our second segment. Now we will be discussing society's glorification of the not like other girls trope.
Yeah, that's it's an interesting topic. I saw a clip on YouTube of a TikTok because I don't have TikTok, so I watch TikTok on compilations on YouTube. Unrelevant.
Yes.
But unrelevant. But anyway, I saw like this funny, it's not funny, it's like a TikTok on how this person was just talking about how some people how most girls consider themselves not like the other girls. Kind of.
Yeah.
It's so funny. It's like they were not impersonating, like imitating one of those girls. Like, oh my god, I love pizza. I just gobble it up, and it's just I'm so not like the other girls, and I just like to watch home and stay home and watch Netflix all day. Like I'm so not like the other girls. Like I like to wear sweatpants. Who knew? Like it's a normal thing to like to be comfortable in your clothes. People are different. Girls are no different from being different.
Yeah, and maybe we should first say like what exactly is this trope. It's very common in like cliche teen or young adult storylines where they have like this like female character and she's like the love interest or whatever, and and oftentimes she like gets the interest of people because she is different from these other girls, and other girls is usually referring to like those popular mean girls in school who seem superficial and like shallow, but this female character, the main character, is not like other girls because she is like quirky in a cute way, and like she doesn't like makeup and she doesn't like shopping or drama, but at the same time she's also like very good looking in a conventional way. Just I woke up like this. And like she likes stereotypically masculine things like sports or cars or watching Netflix on the couch. I don't think that should
how is that even masculine in the first place?
Exactly. It just seems like maybe not like masculine, but just things that don't seem like
girly, feminine.
Yeah, girly. Yeah, like a lot of the stories where like the girly characters, they always like spend like hours doing their makeup, but no, this girl is different, not like the other girls, because she doesn't spend hours on makeup, she spends hours on Netflix.
Wow. I feel like this all stems from a passion for uniqueness, and people want to be something of one of a kind. And to be quite frank, everyone is one of a kind. Everyone is their own. But the problem specifically comes from an overgeneralization of the female sex. Like, not every single girl, as you said, wants to spend hours and hours putting on their makeup. Sure, it's like some people put different amount of time into putting on their makeup. It's not that not all girls want to dress up and want to put on makeup and want to do and play with their dolls. Like, no. And we can't overgeneralize these things because that's where this whole problem comes from. It makes people feel left out. Like, some people want to be like the other girls, but when people started to use this trope in popular entertainment mediums, it came from a good place at first. Like, people wanted to be inclusive. Like, it's okay to not be like everyone else, It kind of came from that. But then I feel like in the same way it promotes that idea. Like everyone still wants to be like other people. Like you want to fit in. So if you see on TV that, oh, this is what you do to fit in, even if you see the main character as someone who does not fit in, it's hard to associate yourself with that because you know that in the beginning you have to go through a rough patch and be different from other people and maybe feel a little left out to be who you are. And that scares people away from just being their authentic self. Because if I saw someone who even was like me say like, I think I'm not so conventional. I feel like I don't think I'm a very conventional teenager. I think I like you and me, we plan our entire days out. And like this is not specific teenager things. We like to wake up at 5 a.m. Not all teenagers like to do that, but it's not that but not all teenagers are the same. You can't overgeneralize teenagers as a whole either. I can say I'm not like other teenagers, but then that makes people feel like they need to be like other teenagers at the same time. Do you see what I'm saying? I feel like I'm rambling on.
Well, I think what we're saying is that the problematic part is that you are basing your uniqueness at on like at the expense of other people,
Mm-hmm.
and like you can't generalize. You can't put other girls all into this one box. And when you're saying that you're not like other girls and therefore you are better, then that implies that by default the other girls are inferior, and just the whole anyone who is like identifies as a girl or a woman, like by default they're inferior. And that
Yeah.
is where the sexist part of this trope comes in. And in a lot of the storylines in like movies and books where they use this trope, oftentimes the point of the main character not being like other girls is so she can get like the secure that relationship with the male lead. And that
Mm-hmm.
sort of just makes you want to do all of this just for male approval. And I don't think that is why you should like set yourself apart from other girls. Like that's a problematic reason to be claiming that you are not like other girls and then like throwing all the other girls under a bus and just being like, I'm so much better than what you guys are doing. And this sort of reminds me of this video on YouTube that I saw about a different trope, about the cool girl trope, which is sort of similar, but not really, because the point isn't that she isn't like other girls. The point is that she is like everything the male lead wants. Like
Mm-hmm.
she is attractive, she shares all of his interests, and she does exactly what he wants, and that's literally her whole character. And at first it might seem really cool, like wow, she's getting all of that attention and she's looking great. But if you look at it more closely, her whole character, her whole world is just centered around that one guy's interests. And that is not how we want to live.
Yeah.
If you tell someone that they're not like other girls and you like them because of that, I think that's sort of a backhanded compliment, because you're just simplifying their worth down to how different they are from other people of their gender. And it's just like the being a girl is not worth your respect or your liking, so you have to be not like the other girls to be worthy of respect and to be liked. And I think that is very problematic logic.
Yeah. That reminds me of like the beginning of the music video for Most Girls by Haley Steinfeld. Like she's with this guy, right? And then this guy is like, oh my God, I like you so much. And she's like, yeah. And then he's like, yeah, you're just not like most girls. And then she just like takes a step back and is like, sorry, I can't do this anymore, because he's
Yeah.
like, what do you mean most girls are awesome, right? Most girls are wonderful in their own skin. You can't overgeneralize us. Overgeneralize us by saying that we're amazing, Like her chorus goes like this: most girls wear Haley Steinfeld. Don't copyright me. But it says like most girls are smart and strong and beautiful. Most girls work hard, go far. We are unstoppable. So if you say that we're not like other girls, then that's also kind of an insult shaped as a compliment. Like,
Yeah.
girls are wonderful. And if I'm not like other girls, then are you saying I'm not wonderful? Like, God.
Yeah. I think this trope and applying this in real life is also problematic because it just sort of puts girls in this unspoken competition of who's
Mhm.
more different, and you become like girls like more readily judge each other in like harsh ways. Like people are often very quick to be like, oh, she's just being desperate. And 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 like sometimes it's a bit excessive. Like she's just saying hi. And it's just putting other women down to make yourself feel better about yourself. And I don't think that's a
why
very
female friendships are so complicated, because society just builds this whole structure that you are supposed to compete. Why are you friends? Like, you're supposed to compete for a guy's approval, or you're supposed to compete for everything in life. So why can't we just help each other? Like, why is it that when girls get in a fight, they get so agitated at each other instead of cooperating? Like, I feel like men can just be like, it's like, oh, hey bro, it's fine, like, get over it. Like, and they get over it and collaborate more. Not all. Like, I'm not overgeneralizing men either, but I feel like it's easier. We should be more collaborative, and I feel like it's mainly society over the years has built this whole competition for women. Who's the prettiest? Who's the smartest? Who's the best? We have to be best in every single thing in our lives.
Oh, if you think about this from a sort of scientific, I don't know, but like what I'm
Historical
saying,
point of view?
I guess historical, yeah, because for a long time, it was normal for men to be superior to women. So usually when you are picking a mate, then it's usually like the men proposing. So if you want like a good partner, then maybe that's where the competition comes from, because like the women are the one like trying to get the attention, and the men are the ones that get to choose. Unless you're like a wealthy noble woman, I guess they 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 have their own struggles, but unrelated. Well, like I guess that's sort of where all the competition comes from, because like the men are like up above and being like, who do I want to choose? And then the women are like, pick me. But like we don't live in that kind of society anymore. But I think it's like still sort of like, somewhere back there in our subconscious mind, like internalized misogyny. That's the term.
Yeah, internalized misogyny. Wow. That's a great way of putting it. Well, that was quite the discussion on ending on internalized misogyny. Wow. Well, now let's move on to everyone's favorite topic, productivity corner.
Of course, everybody loves this subject. Not subjects, this segment. Yes, I wish anyone wanna like help us petition for like productivity class in school.
Oh my god. And our classmates will hate us. Oh my gosh.
I mean, screw them. But anyways, just kidding. We're kind people.
Yeah, we are.
Today's topic is a bit more serious. We've sort of been having a serious episode, although we're still like laughing a lot. But we'll be talking about toxic productivity and our experiences with it.
Yeah. Both of us have had very strong experiences with toxic productivity. Because I think some people never experience it. Like, I mean, they experience it, but they don't get the side effects from it until very late in their lives. Ollie Abdul, for example, and I think a few months ago, he came out with a video on how he never got burnt out until like a certain point in his life. And he was in his I think he's in his mid to late 20s, or maybe he's already 30. I don't know, but he's somewhere there in that range. And he has been really into productivity and finance since he was 13, which is when we started too, right? We were 13 when we started. And he didn't get serious burnout until a while later. And I think, at least for me, I feel like I can get burnt out very quickly. I think it's everyone's brain is different. Whoever is more tailored to getting burnt out gets burnt out, right? Quite simple. But I think that okay. First of all, I forgot to define toxic productivity. A lot of people may not know what it is, especially if you're not familiar with the productivity rule, and especially StudyTube, which really promotes this, but we'll get into that later. Anyway, HuffPost defines toxic productivity as, quote, toxic productivity is essentially an unhealthy desire to be productive at all times, at all costs. It's the need to go the extra mile at work or at home, even when it's not expected of you, end quote.
Yeah, it's like a new term for workaholism, but like,
except just like in all aspects of your life, not just your work.
Yeah.
It's like the need to pump out as much products in your life as possible, whatever it may be, you know?
Yeah, and it often comes at a cost of other aspects of your life. That's why it's toxic, because it's harming you. And even though people might burn out from toxic productivity, or they might know that it's not healthy to always be productive 24/7, I think according to this article I read, people fall into the trap of toxic productivity because it makes you feel in control, and it also makes you feel like competent and worthy, because you're like continually pumping out all of this work, and you're doing it so fast, you're doing it all the time, and you're so accomplished. And especially during pandemic times and times of uncertainty, where you don't really know where things are going, we tend to focus our attention on like the little tiny immediate details in our life that we can control. And so we just get caught up in like, oh, let me clean my room, even though it's like 11 p.m. on a Monday, or like, oh, let me bake like 3 loaves of bread, even though it's like 5 a.m. in the morning.
Yeah, and I feel like it comes when you're super obsessed with something, at least you get really involved in trying to reach that goal as fast as possible, especially for some people. I think that's what happened to me, at least. I had a goal, and even though it was so far away, like the time, it was going to be probably like USIBO. It's in 9 months. We have a lot of time, if you think about it, to prepare. And we're only going into 9th grade. We're gonna take this test 4 times in our lifetimes.
Yes.
Right? And we have 4 chances to get to the level that we want to get to. But we have both had a need to finish the entirety of Campbell biology by the end of this summer. And we realize now that it's completely out of reach for us. We do not want to do 6 hours of Campbell a day, even though that's actually, I cannot believe that's actually what we plan to do in summer, to do 6 hours of Campbell a day. And it's insane because as we're only 13, like no, we're 14 now. We're only 14 years old, but we have a need to get so much work done in our lives, even though it might burn us out. And by the end of the summer, what happens if we finish Campbell? And by the end of the summer, we felt like we wasted one of our last 3 summers before high school starts? You know, what if we could have spent time doing the things that we loved doing that we would not have time to do in the school year? Like I would probably not. I would in the school year, if it was up to me, I would prioritize Campbell over practicing my calligraphy because that's not going to get me anywhere, right? But in summer, I have the time to practice my calligraphy, right? And it's a fun thing for me to do. And I listen to a podcast and practice my calligraphy, and it's very relaxing for me. And I think summer is the time to do that while also being semi-productive. You have to be a little bit productive, in the summer, but we forget to relax. That's the main point of being. That's a big part of being toxically productive. You forget to have fun.
Yeah, and if you're confused, Campbell Biology is a textbook. It has 56 chapters.
And 1,400 pages.
Oh,
we're going to try to finish it in 2 months. 3 months? 2 months.
Yeah, all we figured out was that we don't have genius brains that can do stuff like this. And I think toxic productivity, a very key part of it is setting unrealistic goals for yourself. Mm-hmm. So you're constantly trapped in doing the work because you're technically never going to reach this goal because it's so unrealistic. So you just keep on working, but and even if you do reach your goal, you just set more goals for yourself because once you accomplish something, it gives you a temporary sense of self-worth and achievement, but it's only temporary because it was just that one project. So you keep on searching for more, and then it's just this cycle.
Yeah, and I think what you said about setting goals that are unrealistic, I feel a good way to put it is that you set goals that are your theoretical threshold. Goals that would take up as much time in the day as there is. Like, okay, if I have 12 hours, I sleep for 8 hours, so I'll have maybe I have to do my necessities, so maybe have 12 hours of free time, time to do work, so you plan your goals with that theoretical threshold, but you do not account for all the things that might come in your way, right? You don't account for burnout. You don't account for having fun. You don't account for spending time with your family. You only account for your necessities: sleep, eating, taking a shower, cooking for yourself, cleaning, all of those. If you only account for those things and then say, okay, the rest 12 hours is a day, that means that 12 times 7, what is that? What? 84. Okay, I know math. Okay, 84. So if you have 84 hours in a day, if you plan like that, imagine you can set goals that look unrealistic to you, but technically it's your theoretical threshold. But you have to cut down 20 hours or so from that, 40 hours probably from that, and then work, because you can't work to fulfill your theoretical threshold.
Yeah, that's the ideal world. And the thing with toxic productivity is that you expect the same output from yourself every single day, regardless of any special circumstances that are going to happen that day that might hold you back. And that's not how life works. Life goes up and down. You can't expect yourself to be working at a steady pace 24/7. You are going to have times where you're doing great, everything feels great, you're getting work done earlier than usual, but then you will also have time where you just completely crash and you just want to sit on the couch and watch TV or just take some time to relax with your family or friends. And and if you have a toxic productivity mindset, you don't account for any of that. Like you said, you just account for necessities, but your life is not just necessities and your productiveness.
Yeah.
So, if you're wondering if you have toxic productivity, here are some red flags of toxic productivity. If you have a lot of work-related guilt, if you feel like you should always be doing more, if you feel like you're wasting your time, if you're not being productive, and or like feeling fatigue and exhaustion, even if you just woke up, feeling the need to constantly show off how hard you're working to like other people or like just to yourself, and like constantly asking yourself, what should I be doing now? What should I be doing work? What project should I be doing right now? And like, no,
You're
don't
forgetting
do
to have fun.
Yeah, it shouldn't be, what should I be doing now? You don't need to be on top of it every second of your life.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and I think it's also a byproduct of the hustle culture mentality that like American culture really, really glorifies. We love
Really, really work and then really, really play. You know, work all school year and then relax, chill in the summer. You know?
Yeah, but I think toxic positivity just zooms in on that work part, and it's just like, gotta be busy all the time. Like, even when I'm
It's an
resting.
amplification of the hustle culture, basically.
Yeah, and like I feel like maybe you can like see toxic productivity like even when you're resting, maybe you're on vacation and you're like, oh, I should probably like write a blog post about this, or I'm gonna totally pack our schedule. We're gonna be out at 6 a.m. back at 11 p.m. Like, no. It's insane. This mindset is insane, but it's so easy to slip into it and just let it eat you up because like you constantly feel inadequate if you don't do something. And I think people, if you want to get rid of your toxic productivity mindset, you need to learn how to like stop basing your self-worth on how productive you are.
Definitely.
And like actually planning time for self-care. That's part of your necessities. And
it is, yeah.
And like learning professional detachment, which is according to HuffPost, they said that you should be emotionally detached from your work. Like it shouldn't be like you're gonna live or it's gonna be like a life or death moment if you don't finish this report by tomorrow. And like you should treat like everything just like as something you need to complete, but you shouldn't be like attached to it like you're gonna like a part of you is gonna be like missing or whatever if you don't do it. Just take time to find what you truly value.
Yeah, that's a great way of putting it. Well, that discussion was very personal to us. Now, on the brighter side, the question of our history report segment is, what is your favorite American slang word?
There's so many slang words that are good contestants.
Some that you don't even think of as slang words.
I actually have quite the list. Okay. Okay.
Good. I just picked my favorite two out of the rest. Seeing which ones I cannot live without, you know?
Oh, one that I can't live without, I think, would be like chill.
Oh, same. That's on my list.
Yeah, like whenever somebody is like doing something weird or getting on your nerves, it's just like chill.
But, yeah. Or like, I'm chilling, you know? Like, what are you doing? Oh, I'm just chilling.
Yeah. And this one is the one like you were talking about where you don't even realize it's like a slang word. This isn't one that I couldn't live without, but I like the slang word epic fail. It's just so fun to say.
Oh, yes. And I think, yeah, one of my favorites is just funny, just like spilling the tea. I love it. Because like there's spill the beans, but I feel like spill the beans, I say cool beans a lot. That's another one. I don't know why, I just do.
Oh.
But I like saying spilling the tea, like what's the tea, sis, you know? Like very classic. Yeah, very, very classic. And I love saying that. So I could not imagine a world without spilling the tea. Imagine the drama.
Uh,
If you cannot tell, we're putting the back of our hands on our foreheads and like falling back on our chins.
fainting.
Yes.
We're being drama queens today. Not that it's a bad thing. Unless it's excessive and you're hurting people, you can be dramatic. It's not a bad other girls thing.
Oh gosh. Yeah.
But like this isn't really a word, but more like an expression. You know how like in like these days in like the YouTube comments or in memes, they're always like, "I'm gonna end this man's whole career." I feel like
Oh yes, I feel like that's not really slang. It's just like a phrase. That's like a very
like
American
a cultural phenomenon.
An English phrase, basically.
That you would only understand if
British, something British. I totally forgot this, but something British is like, when they just instead of chilling, I think they say buzzing, like the complete opposite of chilling.
Oh.
Like it's like, oh, it's like, oh, what's up? And just buzzing. And I'm like, what? Buzzing? Like interesting.
Buzz
so funny.
Lightyear.
Exactly. And it also kind of means to be slightly drunk and have the buzz on, You're supposed to be buzzing after a couple of joints. And but it's also a way to basically tell others that you're excited, basically. It's supposed to say like, so it's okay, according to Matador Network. Okay. Yeah, buzzing is, so someone passed an exam. Chances are they'd say that I'm buzzing, mate, They're very excited, they're pumped, but also drunk. Not really, but
Drunk on the happiness, the excitement. And also,
yes, drunk on the ending of stress,
Yes, and also there's the word yeet.
Oh my god, doesn't that come from like Fortnite? Or...
Oh, does it? I don't know. There's also whack. Whack is sort of like a slangy word.
Whack?
Yeah, whack. Like,
oh yeah,
that's whack.
Oh, like that. I thought you meant like as into whack somebody. And I was like,
don't come over here. I'm just gonna whack some sense into you.
Oh my gosh, yes.
And like this is also an expression, like a more like cultural thing. Or just like when people say something funny and you're just like, I just choked on my water. I don't know who decided that we're gonna be choking on water whenever we found something funny.
I mean, because like when someone says something funny, you're drinking water, then you choke on it, right? You look what and start laughing.
Yeah.
So like even if you did not literally choke on water, choking on water is just, oh, I'm laughing out loud. It's like another way to say LOL.
Yeah, I think it's really funny. It's just like when you're like force feeding someone water and then they choke and you're like, oh, so funny. Yeah. Also, like to dump someone is also apparently that's also a slang word. Like I found that kind of funny, if you think about it. Imagine you're the one creating this word. Like, what should we call it when you break up a romantic relationship? Oh, I know. We're gonna dump the other person. Like, just take them.
Oh my god.
Dump them.
Oh, any others?
Going viral.
Oh, yeah.
That one was. It's just an iconic one.
I mean, it only came with the birth of the internet,
Yes, there's like internet slang.
That's like a whole nother topic. Like, what's your favorite internet slang? That's insane.
I did not think much about this, but in texting in Chinese internet slang, they actually use like numbers instead of like acronyms. You know how we say like laugh out loud, like that's like LOL. But like if you're like crying in Chinese internet slang, you hit like the 5. You hit 5 and you're just like 555. I'm so sad because in Chinese 5 is 五, and that kind of sounds like you're crying, like little. So, I don't think I have any more slang words. But like sort of as a little, bonus topic, there's also some interesting words of endearment in the I was about to say in the American language, but like that's not a thing. In the English language.
Yes, like sweetie,
Oh,
sweetie, or oh dear,
but also just like calling people food.
Oh yes. Oh, sugar.
Oh, yeah. Like the Maroon 5 song.
Oh my god. When you think of sugar more of as a Maroon 5 song than you do as a food.
Low key our generation moments.
Yes.
I was about to sing it, but then I remember that YouTube has like copyright stuff.
Oh yeah.
And
well,
also,
anyway, the other word is pumpkin.
Yeah.
I love pumpkins. I love pumpkin spice lattes, pumpkin frappuccinos, pumpkin pie, pumpkin everything. That's why I love the holiday season and fall and winter. And yeah.
Is that why our logo is orange?
Thinking for a second. I don't know. Maybe it is.
Wow.
Maybe I'm just biased.
Maybe our viewers will name you our pumpkins.
Yes, because I love pumpkins so much. And I love you so much.
Yes. Now we have a fandom name.
Yes. Well,
it's like the 5th episode and we don't really have that many views, but like pumpkins.
Yeah, pumpkins.
Honestly, is that kind of weird? I wonder if we're older or younger than most of our listeners.
I don't think it matters.
Whatever. Pumpkins, y'all. Are you listening? Anyways, pumpkins. Have a nice life in the oven, getting turned into pumpkin pie. Just kidding. We actually love you guys. But thanks for listening in on us today. And, don't get turned into that pumpkin mush. And watch out for your seeds. Actually, no, don't watch out for your seeds. You should sprinkle them on the ground so you can be the champion of reproduction and further your species.